All right, turn your packets to 10-3 Part 3. We are doing rotations. This says reflections up at the top, but this is really the rotation notes. So you can go ahead and change that to rotations. A rotation is a turn. Over here we have our angle of rotation and a center of rotation. We're going to always turn around the origin. So we are going to have rules based on the origin. We're not going to rotate around any other points on the coordinate plane. So a rotation turns a figure. The center of rotation is the point in which a figure is rotated about. Point in which a figure is rotated about. And our center of rotation is going to be the origin every time. Okay, there can be other ones, but we're just going to use the origin. At any point, if you need to pause to finish writing down a definition and get caught up, go ahead and pause. Angle of rotation is the number of degrees a figure rotates. Our angles of rotation are 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, and then if it goes all the way back to the beginning, it would be 360. But we're not going to do that because if you turn 360, it ends up back where it was. So here it says you must rotate the puzzle piece 270 degrees clockwise. All right, clockwise meaning going to the right, the direction of the clock. So here's the puzzle piece. Clockwise would be like 3/4 turns. Every 90 degrees is another quarter turn. So if I have my piece of paper, I can turn it 3 times to the right to see what it looks like, and then I'll come back to here to see which one it is. So 1/4 turn would go here, 2/4 turns here, 3/4 turns, this is what it should look like. I should have the opening on the bottom, and I should have the puzzle piece sticking out on the top and on the left. So opening on the bottom, top and left, so that one would be C. Okay, so this is the picture that shows the visual turning clockwise 3 times, 1, 2, and 3 to show exactly where it is. But you can use your paper to do that as well. On your own, which piece is a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation about C? So 90 degrees counterclockwise would mean 1/4 of a turn left. So if you go 1/4 left, 1/4 left is exactly the same as what we just did. So here's this one. If I go 1/4 left, this looks exactly the same as it did before. 3/4 right is the same as 1/4 left. So 1/4 left is equal to 3/4 right, which is what we did with our 270 clockwise. So this one would be C as well. Is choice D a rotation of the original puzzle piece? If not, what kind is it? So choice D, if I look at choice D here, it looks like it just flipped. It did not turn. It looks like it flipped from one side to the other. So this one is no, it's a reflection. Okay. Turn over. I've got 2 trapezoids on the graph that are already drawn, so we're going to more focus on what the rules are for these, the ordered pairs, and what the rule would be. So I've got vertices of a trapezoid. Here's my 4 points at the top. The trapezoid is rotated 180 degrees about the origin. I want the coordinates of the image. So I'm going to go through the image, and we're going to put what the coordinates are, and we're going to come up with the rule based on that. All right, so we're going to put in W, X prime, Y prime, and Z prime. So W prime is over here. That one would be 4 right and 2 down, so 4, -2. X prime right here would go 3 right and 4 down, so 3, -4. Y prime goes 1 right and 4 down, and Z prime goes 1 right and 2 down. So we've got all of our ordered pairs. So what I want to do is look and compare from the original ones to the new ones. The original W was -4, 2, and then 2, -2. So look and notice what's going on with the X. From -3 to 3, that's the opposite. From 4 to -4, that's the opposite. From -1 to 1, that one's the opposite. From 4 to -4, that one's the opposite. So it looks like what happens is they stay in the same order, but they're both just the opposite. So the rule for 180 degrees, whatever the X and Y are, they both become the opposite. So the negative means opposite of here, not just negative. So whatever the X is, it's going to be the opposite. Whatever the Y was, it's going to be the opposite for a 180-degree turn. Okay? All right, down here at the bottom. Describing a sequence of transformations. So this is when more than one thing happens. The red figure is congruent to the blue figure. Describe the sequence of transformations in which the blue figure is the image of the red. You can turn the red 90 degrees so that it has the same orientation as the blue. So begin with a rotation. After rotating, you need to slide the figure up. So one possible sequence of a transformation is a 90-degree counterclockwise, meaning it turned left a quarter of a turn, and then it moved a translation of 4 up. So it moved a quarter of a turn, and then it moved up. So here the red is congruent to the blue, so this one is the red one. And we're going to describe the two different sequences of transformations in which the blue is the image of the red. So to get to here, it only can go, when you're turning, it can only go a quarter of a turn. So if I turn a quarter of a turn, it's going to look like this when I turn it. So first we're going to have a 90-degree rotation counterclockwise. We'll do CC for counterclockwise. And then it looks like it slid. Then a translation. So those were the two movements. We're just describing what kind of movements it would have had to have been. Alright, so from the red to the blue again, you have to turn this one upright to get to this. So it's definitely a rotation. So it's a rotation. Again, only went to 1/4, right? 90 degrees counterclockwise because it went left. And then once it does that, it translates. Then it translates. Okay? All right, so now we need the rules. The next page we're going to find is this page here. And this is going to give us all the rules for the different kinds of turns. We're going to use the graph to help us come up with the different rules for all the different rotations. So I've got my original. My original is right here on the graph. This is triangle M, and it's got points A, B, and C. A is located at 1, 2, B is 4, 2, and C is 4, 5. We are going to rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to call this one counterclockwise, which means we're going to turn that way. It can also be a 270 degrees clockwise. Remember, those two are the same. Going 270 clockwise or 90 counterclockwise is exactly the same. So we're going to turn it counterclockwise, which means we're going to turn it to the left. And this one's going to end up at -2, 1, -2, 4, and -5, 4. So I'm giving you the points, and we're going to come up with the rule once we see what happens with the points. So I'm going to graph it. A is -2, 1. That would be A prime. Then -2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be B prime. C is -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my C prime. And then I connect all three of my points. Okay? And I would call this triangle M prime. All right, so I've turned it 90 degrees counterclockwise, or 1, 2, 3 clicks would be 270 clockwise. But when we do our rules, we're really looking at 90 degrees counter, 90 degrees clock, and 180. We don't really use a rule for counter since it's the same, I'm sorry, for 270 since it's the same as 90 counter. All right, so we want to come up with a 90 degree counterclockwise rule. So down here, my pattern, 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is the same as 270 clockwise. Let's look at what happened. 1, 2 to negative 2, 1. 4, 2 to negative 2, 4. 4, 5 to negative 5, 4. If you notice, they all switch, right? The 1 and the 2 switch, so they switch the order. One of them becomes the opposite. It's the one on the left. So I always use whichever way I'm turning, that's the one that's going to change the sign. So counterclockwise turns left, right? So that means the one on the left, right? The one on the left is the one that changed signs. So any 90 degrees any 90 degrees turn, no matter whether it's left or right, is going to switch the order. Every 90 degrees is going to switch the order. So we are going to switch the X and Y, then make X opposite. So in here I say turn left. If I turn left, the left number is opposite. The left number is opposite. If I turn left, the left number is opposite. Okay? All right, the 180 degree rotation we already talked about on the other page. We change X and Y to their opposite. So this is a repeat of what we did on the other page. So if I have an X and a Y, they're going to stay exactly the same order, but both opposites. So let's do that. From the original, they're going to stay in the exact same order, 1, 2, 4, 2, and 4, 5, but they're all going to be opposites. So I'm going to make them all opposites. Then we'll graph it and see if it looks like it did 2 clicks. And it doesn't matter if it's right or left, it'll end up in the same position, as you'll see. So negative 1, negative 2 is A double prime. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2 is B with a double prime. And then negative 4, and then down 5 is C double prime. I connect my points. We'll call this M double prime. Now, if I click 2 turns to the left or 2 turns to the right, I end up in the same spot. That's why I don't have a counter or clockwise motion on the 180. It just says 180. Okay? Now we're going to go clockwise. Clockwise goes this way. It would also be 270 counterclockwise, but you're probably not going to see that very often. So 90 degree clockwise, this would give me 2, negative 1, 2, negative 4, and 5, negative 4. So let's graph it and then we'll talk about the rule. 2 right, 1 down is A, we're going to put triple prime. 2 right and 1, 2, 3, 4 down is B with a triple prime. And then I lost my lights. And then C, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is C triple prime. So you can see I click 1 to the right, or 1 turn, 1/4 turn to the right, and this is what this one looks like. Okay, everything goes to the right. So looking at the original to here, did I switch the order? Yes. Did I switch the order? Yes. Did I switch the order? Yes. But turning right made the one on the right change to the opposite. So here's the rule for 90 clockwise, which is the same as 270 counterclockwise. We are going to switch oops, switch the X and Y, then Y is opposite. So when you turn right, clockwise is turning right, the right number is opposite. Okay? So those are my rules. For 180, both stay in the same order, both signs change. For both 90s, doesn't matter which way you turn, you always have to switch the X and the Y. So I would do that first. Switch the X and the Y first. And then if you're turning left, the left is opposite. If you're turning right, the right is opposite. Okay? So let's look at one with just this one here. Let's just look here and from here see if we can come up with our ordered pairs. I'm not even going to graph them. So A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay? Here they are. I've got 90 clockwise. So clockwise goes to the right. So if you draw an arrow, that might help you remember which one has to switch. I'm going to switch the order. That's all I'm going to do first. So all I did was switch the order from these three to here. I haven't changed anything yet. Then if it's clockwise, I'm going to switch the one on the right. So that's going to become negative, negative, and negative. And that would give me a 90-degree clockwise turn. Okay? All right, so now on your homework, here's what you're going to do. This side is homework. There's only one side. You're going to rotate. You're going to get the original ordered pairs. So like this one here is 1, 0. It says that you're going to go 90 clockwise. So if you're going 90 clockwise, that means that you're going to switch the order and the one on the right is going to change. So now you're going to go 0, negative 1 is going to be your new T. Okay, because I'm turning clockwise to the right. And so that will end up over in this section over here, and this whole thing should turn. So on the homework, you're going to put the original points. You're going to have to write the original points. Then use your rule. Any 90-degree turn, switch the order. If it's clockwise, the right changes. If it's counterclockwise, the left side changes. So 90 counterclockwise means the one on the left will change. You'll switch the order and the one on the left will change. For 180, that's the one where you have the X and the Y and then they both stay in the same order and both change to the opposite. Okay? This thing where it says bookwork on the back, there's no bookwork. So it's just these 6 for you to do for tomorrow. So I expect to see original points, image points, and drawn on the graph.